Honorable Professor S.C. Sahasrabudhe ji, but before that, I would request my technical team to kindly relay a small film.
Professor S.C. Sahasrabudhe is the former Deputy Director of IIT Bombay and was the Director at the Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of Information and Communication Technology, Gujarat. He has also served as the Chief Technological Officer at Global Telesystems Limited. Professor Sahasrabudhe obtained his PhD from Leningrad University, USSR, in the field of communication and signal processing. He was elected as the Fellow of IEEE and IETE. He has served as the Member of Board of Governors at IIT Mandi, Executive Council of Central University of Gujarat, and was also the Member of Executive Committee of National Board of Accreditation, New Delhi. He is the recipient of the S.K. Mitra Memorial Award from IETE and has won the Best Teacher and Lifetime Achievement Award from IIT Bombay. His research interests include communications, signal and image processing, and microprocessor applications. We are honored to welcome Professor S.C. Sahasrabudhe.
Put your hands together and welcome with a big round of applause the Jeevan Gaurav Puraskar recipient, Director and Deputy Director of IIT Bombay and former Director of DAIICT, Professor S.C. Sahasrabudhe ji.
Thank you very much, dear friends. And I promise you I shall be very brief. I'm very glad that, my peer group has recognized me to give this honor of the award that was presented to me today. And when I was, when the euphoria of having received the award was down a little bit, I started thinking as to what did I do to deserve an honor. And when I explored the possibilities, that might have led to this decision making, I had to answer myself two questions. One question was, the first question was, what did I do to deserve the award? And secondly, how come I was able to do that? So the answer to the first question was perhaps rather simple, that I must have done my job, that is of teaching, reasonably well, that peer group recognizes me for having done my job well. Also, I did it over a fairly long period of time. I've been, I think, in teaching for something like 45 years. So lifetime has been a pretty long period, and also the peers recognizing me. The second question was a little more difficult. How come I acquired the ability, skill to be able to be nominated for the award? And in this exploration, I found that nobody becomes good at his job all by himself. That never happens. There are many others who knowingly or unknowingly are supporting you to become a better person. And when I explored as to who are these people who have a stake in my career, I recognized that there are three possible groups. So I'll briefly mention those three groups to you, and I think that would be all. The first group was three of my teachers who played a very important role in what I have become. First was Professor M.A. Deshpande, who taught me physics at high school. The second person was a person known in Pune very well, and also internationally also very well. And finally, Professor Yakov Alexandrovich, who was my PhD supervisor in Leningrad, in the erstwhile USSR, now St. Petersburg in Russia. These three people, I think, have contributed immensely to whatever I think and I consequently do. Just one bit from each one of them, and I think that should be necessary information. That person, Deshpande, was very good at physics. Yes, he was. He was superb. His domain knowledge was very good. But that's not the deal. being good in your domain knowledge was not what really has finally impressed me. When we entered the 10th standard in school, our board certainly had a brainwave, and they revised the science syllabi upwards. A whole range of topics which were usually taught in the first year, science, were included in the school syllabus. Now, Professor Deshpande, who used to teach us physics, looked at all that, and he realized that in the allotted time, the job could not be done. So, next morning, he comes to the class and decrees. That's the way he operated. He only gave decrees, saying that from tomorrow, all of you will come to the school an hour earlier. Before the school begins, everybody must assemble 1 hour earlier to take an extra class in physics. I'm not sure whether he even, asked the principal for permission. That was not his style. And so for the entire year, we ended up in the physics class every day, 0th hour, for that extra bit. At that young age, I did not realize what he had done to us. But later on, when you grow up you realize that what was his own reward. His own reward was that his students learned well. What passion for teaching. He did not get anything of his own for teaching extra 1 hour during the year. And I learned from him that teaching has to be done with passion. That was the first lesson in life that I learned. Professor Bide, of course, was very good, very stylish in teaching and bringing out concepts in physics very clearly to the undergraduate students. But one more lesson that he taught, apart from, again, what he taught me, was that research is an integral part of a teacher's career. And that sort of set in mind. He was working on Mossbar effect in those days. But that concept that a teacher must indulge in research was sort of imparted to me by Professor Bide. My supervisor in my doctoral program, Professor Yakov Alexandrovich Riftin, I took a course from him in imaging systems. And I learned how complex ideas could be so clearly enunciated so that they are reachable even to the undergraduate student. He was also a very friendly and a very kind soul. So I remember him all. So these three of my gurus made the first impact on my career as when I became a teacher. Then there is a second group, equally important, and that is the undergraduate students of electrical engineering department at IIT Bombay. Mind you, they are a very intelligent group. They are very motivated and very unforgiving. You should remember that they are very unforgiving. And who will ask what question in a lecture is impossible to predict. And this demanding group saw to it that you came to the class fully prepared with what you are going to say and what you are also not going to say. We learned, obviously, I was a young teacher at that time. We learned a lot. We learned to be able to satisfy them. And if you met their expectations, if you met their challenge, then they were not grudging in giving you their friendship and their admiration. So this group actually sort of molded me to become a teacher that they would like to have. Then there is a third group, and that's the last group that I have, is my institute, IIT Bombay. They have an environment of such freedom that you are free to explore what you like, do what you do, and nobody questions you. I don't remember in my long 30 years of career anybody ever telling me, you should do this. Never, ever. So you prospered automatically in an environment of freedom and what you had. So the credit must also go to the institute which could create that environment. And of course, they also brought the students to the class. Such good students in a classroom was the credit of the institute. Then, I started saying that, look, there are three large stakeholders for me, and I must give them the due credit. So whatever I have received in the award, the credit that I have received, when it is fairly distributed to these three stakeholders, I realize that very little is left for me. Fair enough, I don't grudge. I'm not very unhappy. Actually, I'm very happy that I had in my life such excellent stakeholders in my career who actually made me. So with very little credit left for myself personally, I'm still very happy. Thank you very much.